What is up, guys? It's Mega giving you another Duelist Link Evolution. I say this is actually one of my older ones because we're doing a speedroid deck, guys. Someone actually sent me a list as a template, and I just used that as well. I did a lot of research, and I used that along with the research, and pretty much remade my old speedroid deck. The speedroid deck we did beforehand was a Wind Witch one, which is kind of like a double-edged sword, where it does give you like an indestructible crystal wing, but then it does lock you out of other plays. This deck is more of a pure speedroid, where it just focuses on like the speedroids themselves, synchros, and the link monster, rather than going into that fantastic board you can do and go, is it Cosmic Flare Dragon, that level 12 one? We don't have that. It just goes in. It's just basically like a pure speedroid and just goes into like a lot and just basically use all the shenanigans. This deck's of course my own opinion at the end of the day, and it's completely cool if you disagree with any of the cards that are shown in this video. If you're struggling to make this deck or anything, I highly recommend you check out the card hub. Not only to tell you if a card is in this game or not, tell you where to find it, such as campaign, challenge mode, or even a card pack. That does include the new cards that got added with the new update date. That is in the description down below, along with my Twitch, where I do try and stream on as many days as I can, playing this game and also playing other games that I enjoy. And with that, guys, let's get into the video. So as off, guys, some hand traps. Got 2 copies of Ash Blossom. Your opponent does anything from the deck, guys, such as add a card, special summon, or send a card. Ash Blossom shuts it down. Fantastic hand trap. And also I decided to run 2 copies of Fet Veiler. The reason why I decided to run a Fet Veiler and not put cards like 1 for 1 or Pot of Avarice was just because they are good cards, but I just found that they just weren't useful all the time. Like, yeah, 1 for 1's great to get out a free to get a free red eye die, or Pearl Avarice could be great to recycle your deck and obviously like draw more cards, but you just want them in the graveyard anyway. So yeah, decided 2 copies of Effect were just nice, just help shut down your opponent during their plays, like a lot of monster effects, because obviously that's the most annoying things to get around with. 2 copies of Red Haired Hasty Horse. This guy is basically a free summon, guys. If there's no cards in the column, you can special summon this card. If a card is placed in the same column, then this is destroyed. But it's just literally a free summon. Then you just use this, and because it's a level 5, so easy to go into your level 8, your link play. So easy with this card to do a lot of plays. Speedroids themselves, guys. 3 copies of Den Den Daiko. One of the best ones. Like, yeah, you do link summon with him and you use him for synchros, but he's just great because say you did your link play and you've got Den Den in the graveyard, you can pretty much banish him to have to pretty much summon a tuner from your graveyard or from your hand, and because you're going to play the link monster, most probably a fair, you don't care if the monster gets added to your hand or graveyard, because Den Den Daiko just lets you special summon it for free. 2 copies of Double Yo-Yo. This is great to search out with the link monster, because say you pretty much select this and maybe Horse Stilt, because obviously you can get a free summon, and because you've link summoned away, you're most probably going to have cards in the graveyard such as your link play, such as your synchro plays, your tuners in the grave. So Double Yo-Yo, it's just great to resurrect them back, go into some powerful level 7s. And it's the same problem with Horse Stilts, guys. When this guy is normal summoned, special summon a level 4 or lower speedroid from your hand. It also has a graveyard effect where you can banish it from your grave and pretty much send a wind monster from your deck to the grave. You can't do it on the turn it's sent to the graveyard, so please bear that in mind. But it's just great for the next turn. It pretty much equals a free synchro monster near enough if you get the right card, especially with the link monster in play. Such a good card. And say if you combine that with like the normal summon, with like say I don't know, a Double Yo-Yo in hand, and you have Den Den Daiko in the grave, all you need is like a speed recovery or monster reborn, and you pretty much got 2 to 3 synchros in one turn, guys. So easy. 2 copies of Red Eye Die, one of the best tuners. Search with Den Den Daiko. You can pretty much make any speedroid you control and choose a level from 1 to 6, and it becomes that level. It just makes it great to go into any one of our synchros, guys. The only one you can't mate with this is pretty much Crystal Wing or the new High Speedroid, but it's just so good to go into like Wind Pegasus or Clear Wing Fast Dragon. Then 2 copies of Rubber Band Plane. If you special summon any monster, you can special summon this card from your hand. So if you play your Red Horse effect and you've got Rubber Plane in hand, free, that's it. You've done 2 free special summons straight into the link. You have not even used your normal summon, and you can set up your field with obviously the link monsters effect. 3 copies of Take Tornborg. If you control a wind monster, you can special summon this bad boy for free. You contribute it, special summon it 1 speedroid tuner from your deck. However, it does lock you into wind monsters, so you won't be able to summon Cyverse Quantum Dragon with this if you play this card's effect, but you can end up going to every other one of our monsters, so really easy to go into, and it's just great to search out your tuners. 1 copy of Terror Top is limited to 1 guard, otherwise with 1 more. If you control no monsters, you can special summon this bad boy from your hand, and if this card is normal or special summoned, you can add 1 Speedroid from your deck to your hand. And you can special summon this card with double Yo-Yo's ability, because double Yo-Yo doesn't just target tuners, targets any level 3 or lower. So you can just resurrect Terror Top with double Yo-Yo, then you can literally just search out a free card, or special summon, or yeah, add a free card like the Take Tornborg. You could just special summon the Tornborg, and then you instantly special summon the tuner. So easy, right? 1 copy of Tri-Eye Dice, another tuner, guys. So we're all running 6 tuners overall, but it's just a nice combination. During your opponent's turn, you can banish this card from your graveyard to negate the next attack, so it gives you some form of protection, and it's just great to get into the graveyard easily, and you can use that effect with Horse Stilts. And then 3 copies of Speedroid Marble Machine. What a card, guys. When this card is normal summoned, you get to add a Speedroid from your deck to the hand. So you can just literally just go to Take Tornborg, special summon, then you can go straight into the link play with just this 1 card. It does lock you into win for the rest of the turn, but you can get over that. It does have a pendulum ability where when one of your defense position monsters is targeted for an attack, you can switch it to attack mode, and if you do, it can't be destroyed in battle. So it just so it kind of does protect your defense monsters. Going on to the spells, we are running 3 copies of Called by the Grave. The last thing you want to do is get Ash Blossomed, also or hand trapped in general. Also, if your opponent tries to do anything from like special summon from the graveyard, like from a monster effect, or I don't know, Called by the Grave or Monster Reborn, stuff like that, Called by the Grave just removes it from play. They won't be able to do it. 1 copy of Instant Fusion. We are running a Evote Wind Monster just because it's level 5. That means it's great for our Tri-Eye Dice, our Den Daiko, to go into your level 8. And also because it will be a Wind Monster, you get around the limitation of all your Speedroids. 1 copy of Monster Reborn Combo Extender. We are running this for Speed Recovery. So between this Speed Recovery and World Legacy Suppression, you're basically running like 6 Monster Reborns in the whole deck, guys. Speaking of speed recovery, you can special summon 1 Speedroid from the graveyard. This is not a once per turn effect. It does have another graveyard. It does have another effect where you can banish this card from your graveyard to target 1 Speedroid monster and add it to your hand. You can activate both effects. You can't activate both effects the same. Well, no, you can activate both effects in the same turn. It just has to be a different Speedroid or speed recovery. Like if you play this to resurrect a monster, you can't then banish. It has to be a different turn. But if you already set up the graveyard with it, you get around it. And then I was down a card, guys, because of Terror Top on the limitation and Ash Blossom on the limitation. I was decided what could I put in. I could have put in another effect veiler, but I decided not to. I was like, what could I do for a dead card, for an extra card? I thought Upstart Goblin just helps me draw that extra card, because with the way this deck's set up, guys, if you just needed that 1 extra monster for a summon, you can do. And I decided to do this. You could easily run other cards, guys. I just put Upstart in just because it was handy. And then 2 copies of World Legacy Suppression, guys. It's basically a Monster Reborn. You special summon any monster from your graveyard to a zone a link monster points to. So, for instance, if your opponent has a monster that points to points to a zone on your field, you can special summon it using your opponent's link monsters. Absolute broken. And of course, because of our own link monster, you can summon special monsters next to its link. 3 copies of Infinite Permanence, another hand trap, guys, and it's basically an effect veiler just in trap form. And also it's a hand trap, so you can activate this card from your hand if you control no other cards. So just cards like this and Effect Veiler are just great to have on opening turn. So this is kind of like a go in second deck, because all your synchros are just there to just pick apart your opponent's field, and you can just use like all these hand traps to disrupt your opponent's plays. Going to the extra deck, guys, we're running 1 copy of Evote Raging. pretty much, guys, you're going to activate its effect with instant fusion. You can activate its ability where you can target one face-up monster on the field and swap it to face-down defense mode if you want. So say your opponent's got a monster with pesky abilities, you can just swap it face-down and won't be able to activate its abilities, so you can do stuff like that. Going on to the synchros, 2 copies of Clear Wing Synchro Dragon. Clear Wing, guys, it's great to go into, and also it's great fodder for our Link monster. Basically, with this bad boy, when a level 5 or higher monster activates its effects in the field, you can negate it. And also, when a level 5 or higher monster that targets, or phrase like, when a monster activates its effect that targets one level 5 or higher monster on the field, you can negate that effect as well. And Clearing will gain that attack, and Clearing will negate and destroy it, and also gain that monster attack. So that's a bit of a mouthful. 2 copies of Crystal Wing. This is one of your boss monsters, guys. Once per turn, when a monster effect is activated, you can negate that effect and also destroy it, and Crystal Wing will gain that monster's attack until the turn's end phase. Also, if this bad boy battles a level 5 or higher monster, during damage calculation, this card will gain that monster's attack points. 1 copy of Cyber's Quantum Dragon. This is actually one of the best cards in this deck. The reason why we're only running 1 card is because there's a dark attribute. All the rest are wind, so you can go into them more easily. But Cyber's Quantum is just great if you've already got your board set up and you can get around the pesky wind restriction. So if you control a Link monster, this card cannot. Your opponent cannot target monsters you control for attacks except this one. Also, your opponent cannot target monsters you control with card effects except this one. So it gives you a little bit of monster protection because if you have this and the wind monster. Sorry, I have this and the Link monster. And also, well, that's not the reason why you really run this. The reason we run this is because of its battle effect. We're at the start of the damage step. If this card battles opponent's monster, you can bounce that monster back into the hand, and also this card can attack again. So you pretty much just bounce one monster your opponent has and just go for the direct attack or go for another attack. So good. Then you go down to the speedroids themselves, guys. We've got 1 copy of High Speed Roid Chambara. This is one of the best ones, guys, for an OTK, because this bad boy can attack twice during each battle phase. That doesn't matter if your opponent has monsters or not, can just go for the attack. And each time this card attacks, it gains, each time this card battles, it gains 200 attack. That includes if your opponent attacks into it, it will gain 200 more attack. And if this card is sent to the graveyard, even by a synchro play, by a link play, whatever, you can target one of your banished speedroids and add it to your hand. So that's a great effect, especially because you banish your speedroids like Horse Stilts and Den Daiko and Triad Dice to play their effects. 1 High Speedroid Kendara. This is actually not a bad one to go into, and it's great for the fodder for Den Daiko Triad Die combo, because you could send this, then you could guarantee to add a tuner to your hand, and also if Den Daiko goes to the graveyard, you can pretty much special summon the tuner that you added to your hand. You can do it with that one. But if you actually want to summon this bad boy, if it attacks a defense position monster, you inflict piercing damage. Also, you can banish a machine monster from your grave to inflict 500 points of damage to your opponent. It does have another ability where if you control no cards and this card is in your graveyard, you can special summon it, but you don't really play that effect. 2 copies of High Speed Roid Kite Drake. This is a beast of a card, guys. If this card is synchro summoned, it has a few abilities where you can destroy all other cards on the field, or you can negate the effects of all face-up cards your opponent currently controls. And if this card in your possession is sent to the graveyard by your opponent's card, you get to add a Speedroid monster from your deck to the hand. So really good card, and especially summon this card is just a complete board wipe, and you deal 3,000 points of damage to your opponent. Such a good card. 1 copy of Wind Pegasus Artechnistar. Wind Pegasus is a great combination to this deck because it's a wind attribute and it's an easy level 7 generic monster to go into. It has an ability where during your main phase you can destroy spell or traps your opponent controls up to the number of Artechnistars you control. Since this is the only one, you basically each turn you get to pop 1 spell or trap your opponent controls. And also if another card, sorry I couldn't get my words out, if another card you control is destroyed by a battle or by opponent's card effect, while this card is on the field or grave, you can banish this card and then target 1 card your opponent controls and shuffle it into the deck. So even if you use this card for synchro plays or link plays, you can pretty much guaranteed you're going to bounce back one of your opponent's monsters. It's just so good. and 2 copies of Clearing Fast Dragon. This is actually a good one to go into if you're going first, or if you can't OTK your opponent, it's good to go second because it has a quick effect where you can target 1 face-up monster your opponent controls that was summoned from the extra deck. You can negate its effect and also change its attack points to 0. And also it has another effect as well, where if this card is destroyed, you can pretty much place it in the Pendulum Zone. And its pendulum ability is you can send 1 face-up speedroid tuner or and face-up non-tuner to the grave whose levels equal 7, and basically special summon this card from the Pendulum Zone. So it's pretty much like an easy way to recycle it, but this is a great monster to go into because it just shuts down your opponent's extra deck. Like if they like try and do like combo extenders, it's just great to shut down that combo extender, and also like say with like your Ash Blossoms, your Fet Veilers, your Infinite Permanents, it's just great to shut down your opponent. Then going for the links, we've got 2 copies of High Speedroid Rubber Band Shooter. This is actually a really good, guys. You want to go into this as fast as you can. Yeah, it requires 2 wind monsters. During your main phase, you can immediately activate this card. Effect where you can normal summon 1 wind monster. Normal summon 1 wind monster. Also, you cannot special summon monsters from the next step for the turn except synchro monsters. Sorry, that was a bit of a mouthful. I do apologise on that. You can ban it. It does have a couple of effects where you can pretty much normal summon 1 wind monster in your hand for free. So you get a free win. So you get a free summon, which is just great. It also has another ability where you can banish a wind synchro from your extra deck, reveal 2 speedroids whose levels equal that, and then then one of them gets added to your hand, 1 goes to the graveyard. So if you choose the correct one, and go from there, you can pretty much set up your board, then you just go explosive synchro summoning for days. And that's it for the deck, guys. I have gone through a little bit quick, but that's because, like I've been kind of doing, we're going to go into the couple of deck replays I've got where you can kind of see where this deck shines, and you can see what it's all about, like with the controlling. And with that, I'll see you in the replays. So let's get into the replays, guys. So starting from this hand. That's actually not a bad hand because obviously we've got, we only wanted to have 1 red horse, but at least between that and the red horse and the biplane, we have a free summon, we have a free link without even going into our normal summon, which is great, and we also have Called by the Grave in case he tries to hand trap us, so that's actually a very nice hand. And what this guy's kind of doing, he's playing like a very, a trap heavy deck, like trap, you know, like an Alter guys is very controlling. I think he's doing something like that because all he did was just like set traps all the time. I don't know what kind of deck it was, but I think it's like a trap control deck. So obviously now we know that face down card is Compulse. So it's like you've got to try and get a board set up where you obviously you've got to have a back play. So for instance, if you did went into all big, he's just going to Compulse you and you're like, right, what can I do? You need to have another 4 back play, don't you? So I was like, right, let's do this. So because there's a free slot, we can summon out red-haired hasty horse. So basically red horse because there's a free zone. Now because we've summoned a monster from our hand, Rubber Band Plane gets summoned as well. So now we can go into our link monster for free. We haven't used any resources, so now we're going to go into Horse Stilts, and since Horse Stilts was summoned, we get to special summon a Speedroid from my hand. So I went to Speedroid, Red-Eyed Dice, and I changed Biplane to 6 because I wanted to go into Wind Pegasus at Ignistar because I want to kind of bait out that card in a way, if you get me. Because Wind Pegasus can destroy that, and I was thinking, if I just destroyed the Compulse, it's going to chain the Compulse and send Wind Pegasus back to my deck. That was my original plan. So now I was kind of like, right, I've got all the conditions, let's see how far he's going to go before he Compulses. So I decided to link these 2 together into our Link Monster. Its effect's now going to activate, so now we get to banish a Wind Synchro from our extra deck, and basically choose 2 Speedroids, that's the same level, and you get summon 1. He tries to Ash Blossom. This is why, guys, you run Call by the Grave. He tries to Ash Blossom you, you just shut down the hand traps. Absolute gold mine. So now, The two monsters I decide are Terratop and Double Yo-Yo, because if Terratop goes to the... Because even if Double Yo-Yo goes to the graveyard, it's not that problem. Terratop's out of our hand, we can normal summon because of our Link monster, and we can still play Terratop's ability. And if Terratop goes to the grave, Double Yo-Yo can just resurrect Terratop. So regardless, Terratop's effect is going to trigger. And we get the good one, where Double Yo-Yo goes to our hand and Terratop goes to the grave. So now, because of our Link monster's ability, we can now normal summon another wind monster for free. So we're going to now summon out Double Yo-Yo. And since it's been normal summoned, we get special on a level 3 or lower speedroid from our grave. So we choose Terratop. Because Terratop was now special summoned, we get to add a speedroid from our deck to our hand. I choose Tornborg because we're already locked into wind because of the Link monster. So because of Tornborg, we can now get another synchro on board, because you just basically play Tornborg with its effect, and then you tribute it for a tuner. So I decide. So here we go. So even if you like compulses like the Wind Pegasus or something, we still have that fallback play on. We can still go into another play. That's what my whole thinking was here. So now we're going to the Wind Pegasus. And I was thinking, right, is he going to compulse the Wind Pegasus? And I was like, yes, no, what's he going to do? He doesn't decide to compulse it. So again, I was going to play Wind Pegasus' ability to hopefully pop the compulse, because then I thought I was going to be safe. He's just going to get rid of Wind Pegasus, it'll be fine. Because even if he did, we still have the cards in play to go for a bigger synchro play. But he plays Dark Sacrifice, which means it kind of negates Wind Pegasus' ability, and he gets to send a level 3 or lower dart from his deck to his hand. So that's unfortunate. And he plays Absolute King Backjack, which, because it was sent to the graveyard, he can now set basically what his top card's going to be. And then it has another graveyard where you can banish it and execute the top card. If it was a trap, you get to add it. So apparently it just sends that to the grave. I didn't get that whole one. But so now, since Wind Pegasus' ability is ruined, decided to go into Red Eye Dice, because we can link synchro all of these three together to bring out the level 8 high speedroid monster. Our, what is it, Kite Drake? Yeah, our Kite Drake. The reason I went into Kite Drake was because against a heavy back row deck, it's all about the back row, isn't it? So I decide to play Handrake and nuke the field. Like, yes, I know he's going to compulse it, but if I can take out his other cards, he's got no cards in his hand, no cards in the field, it's literally what he top decks. And because I've got 8,000 life points, he ain't gonna OTK us with a trap heavy deck. So it's literally, what does he top deck? If you catch me drift. So, and because we've already got all our cards in the graveyard, such as Horse Stilts, which we can then pretty much send Den Daiko to the grave. You see what I mean? We have literally golden, and then next turn we can summon out our Red Horse for free. We're fine. But now, because his whole board is gone, it's literally what he top decks now. That's all he has. So it's like now, we don't technically need so we drew kind of a Monster Reborn, World Legacy Suppression. He plays Trap Trick, so now we know what card he's going to set. He's going to set a Pelazone Candina. So basically, I think he wants us to do now is he's going to target one of our face-up monsters and flip it face down. The reason he wants to do this is because he wants to interrupt my play so I can't attack him. So what we decide to do is remove Horse Stilts in our graveyard from play. This lets us send any Speedroid to the graveyard. And because we're going to send Den Daiko, that means his effect's now live. But because obviously we've got the Red Horse, we summon it to a free zone. And now we remove Den Daiko in our graveyard from play, which lets us special summon any free tuner that's in our graveyard back to the field. Now, what he's most likely going to do, I'm going to go into a synchro play. If I was, he could play his trap card to basically flip it face down. I'd have to pass. Because we've got World Legacy Suppression, I was actually going to go into the Link monster, because a Link monster can't be flipped into face down defense mode because it doesn't have defense points. So they can't do that. So because I was going to do that, I could have played World Legacy Suppression. I could basically resurrect any monster from my graveyard. I could like Wind Pegasus back to the graveyard, like back to his Link. I could destroy it that way. You see what I mean? We could have done a lot of plays. So that's what we decided to do. we decide to link away back into rubber band, or rubber band shooter. Now we're gonna play its ability again to basically send a level 8. Cause I was gonna choose horse stilts and double yo-yo because we haven't normal summoned yet. So whichever one we normal summoned, we can pretty much just like, say if I just normal summoned horse stilt, the one you want really is double yo-yo, because then you could have gone into a Link 7 play, or synchro 7, a level 7 synchro play. But even if we've got the horse stilts, we still have the World Legacy suppression to basically bring double yo-yo, to bring Den Daiko back, so we could go for a better play. And he leaves before that effect activates. So he's most probably clicked on now, he can't bounce my monster into defense mode. So that was that duel, guys. The second one was a little bit of a weird one because my hand is really crap. We've got a hand trap, we've got enough 2 disruptions and a hand trap. That's enough our hand. He goes first and he decides to pass. I'm going to let you in a secret, guys. He's playing a Time Lord deck. So a Time Lord deck is all about going second, and so your opponent needs to have a monster, so you can normal summon your monsters without a tribute, and then you go off from there. Because our hand is really poor, we have literally 2 Ash Blossoms and 2 Called by the Graves. I decided to just set a Den Daiko, and then just set the 2 Called by the Graves, because even if, like, say for instance, I don't know what deck this guy's playing, so he could like have like multiple cards activated in the graveyard, so I was like, right, we'll just set both of them just in case. So we've got basically 4 negates, because obviously we can negate his graveyard and we can negate his cards. So now we decide, look, he's playing a Time Lord deck, so he sends a card to the grave, special summon a Time Maiden. Now he's going to play Time Maiden's ability, and we're going to negate it with the Ash Blossom. So now he can't do anything. We shut down the Time Maiden. And Time Maiden has an ability where he can't special, like if you banish it, you can special summon a Time Lord, but you can't special summon like other monsters. So that's why he can't play Time Maiden's effect in the graveyard. So now that we know his monster's effect in the graveyard are Time Maidens, we can banish both of them with the Called by the Graves, so he can't play Time Maiden's graveyard effect. We did draw a speedroid red-eyed dice. Didn't really care what card we top decked because we could still play Den Daiko and just link both of them away into the into the speedroid. I decided to play the red-eyed dice and link both of these away because Den Daiko will still let us special summon red-eyed die back from the graveyard. So now we're going to play Rubber Band's ability, and we're going to banish a monster. We've banished the Drake, and we're going to do the same combo again with the double yo-yo and with the horse stilts. And we've got double yo-yo. Horse stilts would have been a better play, guys, because we could have then played the Den Daiko from hand. But, you know, doesn't really matter. So now with double yo-yo, we can now set again with the link. We get to normal summon a monster. Now with double yo-yo, we bring back red-eyed dice because I decide to not. We could have gone into like a level 7. We could have gone into clearing Fast Dragon. We could have gone into Speedroid Kambara if we wanted to. We could have gone into Crystal Wing. We couldn't go into clearing, sadly, but you see what I mean, what we could have gone into. I decided to synchro summon into Chambara because Chambara can attack twice regardless, and it just gets more and more power. If we had, guys, a card to resurrect a card, like for instance, if that was Monster Reborn, World Legacy Suppression, Speed Recovery, we would have actually OTK'd right now because yes, we could resurrect Red-Eyed Dive by banishing Den Daiko, but that's all we could have done. Like we can't even bring out Crystal Wing with this because obviously you can only raise that monster's level to 6. You can't make it level 7, sadly. So we're like literally one monster away from an OTK. So I decided to play one Called by the Grave now just to remove the Time Maiden, and then we get him down to like 2,400 life points because say Chambara can attack, and when he attacks, he gets 200 attack. He now attacks again, gets another 200 attack, and then our monster just attacks him again. So he's like one attack away from losing now. So now we just pass. So now we're just fine. We can't. We're like the reason why I didn't go into Crystal like clearing Fast Dragon is because a Time Lord player only goes into the extra deck like Super Dreadnought, Super Dreadnought, Gustav Max, if they're going for the OTK. So for instance, if they've done their combo, then they use Gusto Max for the finisher. So you didn't really need Crystal Wing, like Clear Wing in a way. And against Time Lords, you couldn't play Clear Wing Synchro because his ability would negate and destroy, while they can't be destroyed by battle. I mean, I guess you could negate and destroy, really. But I decided to just basically do the Chambara for the damage. So we played another Call by the Grave to banish his other monsters, so now he can't play... Because even if he normal summoned Raphaon, which he did, if he had banished the Time Maiden, he could have then summoned out another one. He could have brought back one of the better ones, so hopefully like, go for a lot of burn. So all he decides to do now is to attack me with Chambara. Unfortunately, because Chambara was attacked, its ability activates, gain 200 or more attack, and then Raphaon just burns us for 2600 points of damage. Now I don't particularly care what card we drew, guys, because now we've already won. Without any of these cards, we've won just because of Den Den Daiko in the graveyard. So we're going to move Den Den Daiko from the grave to bring back Red Eye Dice, and what we're going to do is go into Cyberus Quantum Dragon. He might think, like, here's the problem against Time Lords. They can't be destroyed in battle. They can't be destroyed by card effects. You can target them with card effects, but a lot of decks nowadays to focus on destroying. The Time Lords can't be destroyed. So I thought, what card have I got to return or that bounces cards back? Cyberus Quantum. Absolute fantastic. Chambara's ability will now activate, letting us target one of our banished high speed roids back to our hand. So now instead of like doing all these plays, like playing our monster, I decided to just go for the attack and win, guys. So Cyberus Quantum bounces his monster back into his hand, and then Cyberus Quantum attacks again for the win. And yeah, so hopefully you see how the deck. So you see how the deck kind of plays. It's like you've got all these powerful synchro effects like Wind Pegasus, Quantum Dragon. You've got Drake to nuke the field. You can go into Fast Dragon, which can negate the graveyard. You can go in Crystal Wing to negate monster effects. You've got normal Clear Wing to basically negate high powered monster effects. You've got your Ash Blossoms. You've got your Impertinence. You've got your Call by the Grave to interrupt plays. You've got a lot of things you can do, like just interrupt your opponent and make them play down to your level. Like if you can't play like all these combo decks and go mad, reduce them combos to your level. Like that's what I do with Predaplants. Like Predaplants is a good deck, so what you do is steal your opponent's cards and work them down to your level. That's what this card does with all the hand traps and stuff. You stop your opponent from doing all these big plays, then you just go mad with your cards. That's what it's all about, guys. So yeah, I do hope you found this deck enjoyable. Like I have ranted on a lot, guys. So in this bit. So yeah, I'm gonna see you when I see you guys. I hope you enjoy the deck, and if you enjoyed it, hit that thumbs up. Let me know if you enjoy this deck or not, and also if you enjoyed Speedroids. And with that, guys, take care. Goodbye.